So Sam, what are your thoughts about multi-plant scenario? At D4M, based on our experience of deploying various solutions, what we believe is just to reduce the risk, we identify one plant site or a cell group, do it as a pilot or a POC. Once you see that all your requirements are fulfilled, then you work with us to create a roadmap for transitioning all your manufacturing plants in a step-by-step manner. So Sam, what are your thoughts on this approach? Do you see this approach is okay, or do you recommend a better approach?
I see that approach is completely fine. It again depends on the comfort level that the customer has. It's also about the need that they may have. One of the early on learnings that we had from a customer that stood up publicly and they talked about this in front of a large audience for us, and that was Vibroacoustic. They got up and they said, you know what? We wanted to do a pilot for one of our plants for a production area that was struggling. They hadn't had a lot of support from a central IT, and the MES that they had in place was pretty old and had a lot of homegrown stuff that they had put on top of it. And they said, you know what? Let's cover this production scenario. So they did. A couple months later, they're looking to go live and they said, you know what? Rather than apply this to another production area at this plant, we have a pressing need at this other plant. And these other 10 plants also have similar production scenarios. Why don't we just take the production scenario that we set up here? Why don't we just roll it out to the other 10 locations? So rather than squeeze what they could out of tier 2 and tier 3 needs within one plant, they said, what are the tier 1 needs across all of these locations? And let's deliver on those. And we can build and roll our business value based on the tier 1 needs of these different locales. And we don't have any additional overhead aside from engaging with those plants to say, hey, we're going to update the system in the way that we deliver this system to you. So aside from the employee enablement of what the new process was going to look like, the overhead was very minimal, and the return of value on that approach to go live with 11 locations was really big for them. You can certainly go the traditional method where you focus on one plant and then use that as a lighthouse plant that you then take that success and move it elsewhere quickly, but you're not limited to that approach. And I thought that was a pretty interesting lesson to learn from them.